In the year 1874, the small town of Maplewood, Virginia, nestled among rolling hills and wrapped in the embrace of towering trees, flourished within the confines of an illusory peace. Its populace lived under a shared ethos, one marked by a quaint yet unwavering belief in familial bonds and community values. The Whitmore family was no exception. They were known for their open doors and warm smiles, seemingly embodying the very essence of Southern hospitality. Matriarch Margaret Whitmore was a paragon of grace, effortlessly commanding respect and admiration among her peers. She was seen as the heart of the family. Her husband Thomas, a stern yet devoted man, worked tirelessly as a carpenter, and together they raised 5 daughters: Clara, Ruth, Elise, Sophia, and the youngest, Lily. Each girl was unique, threaded together by a bond stronger than mere blood, a sisterhood imbued with the love of a devoted mother. Yet, as picturesque as this family appeared, cracks began to form beneath the surface of this ideal existence. Rumors whispered through the town like an ominous breeze, hinting at tension that could boil over. Muffled arguments echoed through the walls of their quaint home, a scent of something far less savory creeping into the warm persona that the Whitmores projected. Margaret always seemed distant, recalled Mrs. Kingsley, a neighbor who often dropped by for afternoon tea. There was kindness in her eyes, but there was also a shadow she tried to keep hidden. It was in those hushed tones that the first inklings of unease surfaced. Children from nearby homes spoke of odd encounters, the fleeting glances of Clara, the oldest daughter, who would often stare vacantly into space, deep in thought. Ruth, the quiet one, had taken long walks along the forest's edge, often returning home with an air of somber reflection, while Elise, with her penchant for storytelling, would craft eerie tales late into the night, her sisters hanging onto every word in delighted fear. In the heart of this family, it was the bond of sisterhood that reigned supreme, yet as their 16th birthdays approached, an inexplicable dread seemed to seep deeper into their lives. So when Lily's birthday loomed over the horizon, excitement intertwined with a palpable sense of foreboding. The town buzzed with whispers of the Whitmore daughters, their fates intertwined with the mysteries concealed within their charming home. One cold morning, Margaret woke to find a note slipped under her door. It read, "Beware of the woodland shadows, they watch." Shivers ran down her spine as she clutched the note tight. Was this a message from someone seeking to disrupt her family's serenity, or merely the misguided words of a passing stranger? A fabric of unease began to envelop Maplewood, and with it came the realization that the idyllic facade of the Whitmore household, while seemingly flawless, invited dangers that lurked just beyond their doorstep. Something was looming unseen, a danger threatening to shatter the fragile harmony they had built. As Lily's 16th birthday approached, the sense of impending doom hung heavy in the air. The Whitmore house, dressed in vibrant spring blooms, generated smiles from those who passed it by, but the voices of concern among friends and neighbors grew louder with each passing day. On a day like any other, Clara found herself wandering the nearby woods, that peculiar sense of disquiet clinging to her. Fluttering leaves and soft whispers twisted in the wind, urging her to venture deeper. "The shadows are watching," she murmured aloud, recalling the note from her mother's doorstep. Lost in thought, she stumbled upon a clearing, a hidden sanctuary of sorts marked by a large oak tree. Beneath it lay remnants of an old picnic, a cloth stained with time, forgotten by days and years that had passed. Clara's heart raced, a feeling of being watched digested her excitement. Did someone else often visit this spot? As the sun slipped below the horizon, Clara made her way back home, a familiar knot forming in her stomach. Meanwhile, Elise, known for her fanciful tales, summoned her sisters one evening to share what she claimed was a vision she had seen: the faces of wandering girls lost to the woods. "They need our help," she insisted, her voice shaky yet impassioned. "We must find them." Ruth's brow furrowed. "What are you talking about, Elise? This is just another of your stories." But something in the air had shifted. Laughter transformed into tension as the girls exchanged hesitant glances. In those moments, a veil of fear cast a shadow over their collective joy, painting their happy childhoods with strokes of uncertainty. That night, as soft whispers and furtive glances filled the Whitmore home, Margaret was awakened by the sound of footsteps echoing in the hallway. Stepping into the darkened space, she felt a pull, sensing that something was wrong. Peering into her daughters' rooms, she found them asleep, yet a feeling of dread gripped her heart, a notion that whatever was coming for them was not bound by their 4 walls. The next day, as Lily stepped into the local general store, she sensed the weight of the townspeople's eyes upon her. "They're talking," she confided to Ruth, her heart heavy. "I heard them discussing the Whitmores again." Ruth shook her head in disbelief. "It's nonsense, all of it. We're just being ourselves." but deep down, each sister masked fears that churned like an unsettled sea. As the days wore on, the distance between them grew palpable, and the birthday celebrations began to morph into a backdrop for their unspoken anxieties. They remained tethered by their love, yet glimmers of unease threaded between the sisters like the very shadows that haunted the woods. On the eve of Lily's birthday, a chilling storm rolled through Maplewood, darkening the sky into an unforgiving gray. Each Whitmore daughter took inventory of her own darkness. They had all felt that something, some unseen weight felt like it was closing in on them. "I wish we could forget," whispered Sophia, her voice laced with despair. As they huddled together, the light flickered just as everyone's spirits began to succumb to the gathering gloom. The irony was that the very shadows they feared were creeping closer, inching toward something they could not yet comprehend. The air on Lily's 16th birthday was thick with a sense of foreboding that lingered like smoke, choking all that was bright about the momentous occasion. The wedding bells rang out from the church nearby, but their joyful sound seemed to fade into a dirge, mirroring the ominous undertones that enveloped the Whitmore home. As the day unfolded, Margaret hurriedly decorated the house, hanging cheerful banners and preparing a feast fit to celebrate her youngest daughter. The sisters, now on edge and acutely aware of the heaviness within, played their roles, laughing a little too loudly and smiling a little too wide, masking the reality that was eating away at them. Clara decided to venture out to the woods again, compelled by an irresistible curiosity about the hidden clearing. "I need to know," she muttered quietly, driven by a mix of dread and fascination. When she reached the clearing, the sight was chilling. Remnants of a fire pit, hints of recent use, and yes, the unmistakable presence of a girl, a figure cloaked in darkness seated beneath the tree. "Who are you?" Clara mustered the courage to ask. The girl turned toward her, pale and gaunt, eyes filled with unshed tears. "Help me," she whispered before vanishing into the underbrush before Clara could react. A shudder coursed through Clara, fear clashed with curiosity, and she fled back home, her heart racing with the weight of the unknown. She stumbled into the warmth of the celebratory gathering, yet the joy around her felt suffocating. That evening, emotions erupted as the sisters gathered in their shared room, desperate echoes of fear pouring forth. "Something is wrong with us," Clara exclaimed, her voice tangling with a mixture of urgency and sorrow. "I saw her," she called for help. With eyes filled with conviction, Elise interjected, "We've got to confront whatever is stalking us. I can feel it draining my spirit." Ruth looked towards the window. "It's true, isn't it? Every time we try to celebrate, something dark looms closer. What if we're losing our way?" Margaret, overhearing the exchange, felt an icy grip on her heart. "You girls settle down, nothing is lurking in the shadows, you're just letting your imaginations run wild." But deep down, she could feel an unsettling truth echoing in their words. Something was very wrong within their family unit. That night, as the clock struck midnight and Lily wished on a birthday candle, silence enveloped the house. In the depths of the woods, a haunting howl reverberated through the night air, matched only by the sound of thudding hearts and erratic breath. The age-old tale of the Whitmore daughters swept through the town as the shadows seemed to whisper secrets long buried deep within the earth, memories intertwined with chilling echoes. As the first rays of dawn light illuminated the horizon, the Whitmore household stirred, sinking deeper into dread. Moments later, however, quiet turned to chaos. The beams of light broke through the windows to find an unsettling emptiness. Lily was gone. The sisters screamed, the sound cutting through the silence like glass shattering. They rushed to the hall only to find the door ajar, leading them straight to the woods. The unthinkable had happened. On her 16th birthday, Lily had vanished. As the very fabric of reality broke apart, uncertainty wrapped its fingers tightly around the Whitmore family. Sisterhood was destined to be tested against the powerful grip of their darkest fears, a crucial moment poised to pull them apart or bring them together. The search for Lily commenced the instant Margaret raised the alarm, sending shockwaves through Maplewood. The town banded together, voices filled with anxiety reverberating through the streets. The faint sounds of fervent prayer mingled with the shouts of those racing against time. Days turned into a blur as search parties combed through the woods, calling out for Lily, their voices echoing between the trees like a mournful siren. Within the darkness, the once familiar landscape transformed into a labyrinth of shadows where hope flickered dimly. While the search consumed every waking moment, Clara, Ruth, and Elise withdrew into a world of unspoken fears and uncharted territory. They shared uncomfortable glances, each sister grappling silently with the impossibility of their situation. I don't believe she's gone," Clara murmured one evening, her voice barely audible, tears streaming unbidden down her cheeks. "We must find her, we have to." Elise interrupted, a note of urgency threading her words. "We need to confront what's really happening. Something is holding her, trapping her in that darkness." Ruth, combating growing fears, muttered, "But what if the stories are true? What if the woods are stolen from us, spirits yearning for something? We might not bring her back." Summoning that lost connection to their sisterhood, the sisters agreed to venture into the woods, armed only with lanterns and shared resolve. Night fell, igniting the silhouettes of gnarled branches against a starless sky. As they approached the clearing, instincts screamed at them to turn back, every nerve pulsing with trepidation. But steadfast in their unity, they forged on. There, they found the remnants of a fire pit, exacting deeper memories etched in the collective family history, an unresolved tether binding them to a past they had barely begun to unravel. "I can feel her near," Clara whispered, her heart pounding in rhythm with an unexplainable force. "She's here." It was then that whispers danced through the trees, growing louder, channeling tales of their own legends of lost daughters and the woods claiming what was once theirs. Gritted teeth and trembling hands gripped lanterns tightly as foreboding visions came alive. Elise stepped forward, her heartbeat resonating in a way that beckoned the truth. "Whatever is happening here isn't just about Lily. We need to own our history or it'll consume us," she said, her eyes fixed on the tree that sheltered them, shadows pooling like secrets. With every step deeper into the woods, the heartbeat of their lineage beat stronger, revealing shards of memories tied to forgotten legacies. They unearthed remnants of photographs, flashes of laughter frozen in time. Eerily familiar faces, hauntingly pale, gazed back, containing a truth that set their fears ablaze. "Who else was lost?" Ruth exclaimed, revelations fanning the flames of dread. "Why are these here?" As the wind whispered through the branches around them, closing in like phantoms lost to time, Clara understood the message carved into their environment. A greater purpose lay entwined with the sisters' fate. A link bound their history to the very essence of the woods they cherished, a dark tether challenging their very existence. Summoning courage, they pledged to break the cycle. They wanted the pain to be finally unearthed, to confront all that had lingered unaddressed. As they cast their lanterns into the shadows, an unyielding determination stirred within them. They would fight the voices, the whispers, and the shadows, for Lily's return, and for the generations lost like petals drifting upon a tumultuous wind. The murmurings of the townsfolk became a penetrating force back home, rumors swirling with whispers of deeper histories tied to familial legacies. The Whitmores surely bore traces of complexities unacknowledged, woven intricately into Maplewood's tapestry of folklore and truth. As Clara, Ruth, and Elise trudged into the heart of the woods, determination morphed into desperation. The raindrops gathered overhead, faithful droplets marking their stead as they delved deeper. "We must confront whatever binds Lily," Clara spoke, voice firm against the backdrop of burgeoning storms. "She wouldn't abandon us, she would fight." Then, amid the tension, a quiet chord struck. The sudden echo of distant laughter, haunting yet familiar, resonated through the trees, intertwining with the wind. It drew them in, pulling them closer, a bittersweet melody ringing like a call from beyond the veil. Just as the laughter faded, the girls stumbled upon another clearing, this one much larger and utterly transformed by the storm's recent presence. The remnants of a community gathering stitched the land together, a forgotten place where generations had once come together to honor lost children. It was here that Clara caught a glimpse of something in the distance. Halos of flashlights pierced through the darkness. The search parties had arrived once more, yet something diverged from their light, a feverish urgency wrapped around their search like a clandestine embrace. "Clara, that's where we must go," Elise said, and without waiting for consensus, the sisters moved towards the lights, propelled by a combination of fear and hope. As they approached, they were met by a scene tinged with confusion. The townsfolk stationed around the clearing exchanged hurried glances, the urgency consuming them wholly. "We can't find her," yelled one man, desperation lacing his voice. "We have reconstruction crews coming, claiming that this land is theirs." "We can't let them take this place," Clara interjected, leading her sisters into the crowd. "It's ours, our family's legacy. We have to prevent them from digging up what is lost." Together, the sisters rallied the townsfolk who had once shared in countless traditions, allowing the brightness of their unity to shine through while standing resolute against encroaching forces. The mere idea of losing this sacred ground, a potential repository of their own family memories, ignited a seriousness that pulled them together. In that moment, they realized they weren't just fighting for Lily, they were battling for a whole history yet suffocated by silence. They needed to reclaim their past not just as the Whitmores but as part of the greater tapestry of shared stories threaded together through time. With voices unified, Clara and her sisters led the charge to reclaim not just the land but their birthright, the values and bonds that molded Maplewood. The power of collective memories surged, emotions clawing their way to freedom beneath the heavy clouds. As they moved forward, determined to fight, Clara felt her heart lift as she understood the heart of the woods was not one of darkness but of reclamation, a chance to reconnect with lost souls within their history, transcending space and time until they reclaimed the very essence of who they were. As hearts raced amid the turmoil, something remarkable began to unfold, a renewed belief in resilience. Together, in defiance against the shadows, the Whitmore sisters stood side by side, hearts unyielding and spirits burning bright. Days turned into weeks, and the search for Lily finally reached its climax. With the townsfolk rallying in solidarity, Clara, Ruth, and Elise had transformed from daughters into symbols of hope. They became the unbreakable threads woven into Maplewood's legacy, reclaiming lost histories like delicate wings stitched together in the name of sisterhood. Resilient in spirit, the Whitmore sisters finally took to the woods once more, guided by an unspoken bond that hummed beneath the surface. Armed with determination, they faced the underbrush, unearthing stories buried over the years. They were no longer just searching for Lily but sifting through layers of silenced voices, both present and absent. In the heart of the woods, they uncovered a trove of memories, fragments of laughter entwined with the daughters long swallowed by the shadows. Their silenced voices began to whisper again, intertwining hopes and fears that illuminated their surroundings. "I feel them," Clara gasped, overwhelmed yet comforted, her fingers brushing the very earth that had held their secrets for too long. "They are here, speaking to us." As the gentleness of dawn crept over the horizon, a new awareness dawned in Clara's heart, a realization that passion could surpass pain, that love could transcend darkness. The sisters had shifted the narrative, breathing new life into forgotten tales and resurrecting the still echoes of their kin. In a poignant ceremony, the community gathered to honor Lily and the countless lost daughters, reclaiming spaces where shadows threatened to drown out their stories. With lighted lanterns, families came together, reading the names of those who had vanished, offering intentions and lighting candles of remembrance. The whispers of the past intertwined with the present, restoring echoes of laughter and love that bore witness to lost legacies. As the final lantern flickered in the twilight, the sisters stood with hands intertwined, feeling the warmth of connection, a shared heartbeat that echoed long after the candles burned out. Through resilience and reflection, they realized that sisterhood had the power to transcend even the heaviest darkness. The Whitmore daughters had emerged from the trials, melding hearts into an unbreakable force, leading to healing not just for themselves but for the entire town of Maplewood. Their legacy would remain, a haunting yet beautiful reminder of the darkness that had dwelt, forever now bound by unyielding kinship. As the town breathed freshly, remnants of pain dissolved into renewal. Clara, Ruth, Elise, and Lily had convoked their shared strength, dedicating their lives to ensure the lost would never again be forgotten, a legacy imbued with warmth, family, and the triumph of sisterhood. In the heart of it all, they embraced the truth that not only had they come to reclaim their sisters and families, but they accomplished the monumental task of lifting the burdens they carried, the burdens that were but whispers in shadows, intertwined to create voices that would resonate through time. In the months following the lantern ceremony, Maplewood began to transform in ways the townspeople never could have anticipated. What had once been a quiet, unassuming town now carried a vibrant pulse of remembrance. The Whitmore family had opened its doors wider than ever before, transforming their home into a sanctuary for those escaping shadows, offering a willingness to embrace stories long buried. Clara, Ruth, and Elise emerged not only as sisters but as champions for the lost and the found, drawing strength from each other and a community that rallied behind them. Together, they initiated a local storytelling festival, an event aimed at reclaiming narratives silenced for far too long. It became a space where residents could share their experiences, a forum where whispers transformed into shouts of joy, sorrow, and healing. "It's beautiful," Clara remarked one evening as she pinned colorful posters around town. "We can weave our stories together, turn pain into art, into song, anything that represents our journey." Ruth, always the more artistic of the three, suggested they include visual art forms. "Let's give people a canvas, literally, so they can express what's been silenced in their hearts. We'll unite in creativity. Each stroke of a brush can bring forth the memories we've lost." The festival was set for late autumn, allowing time for the preparations to take root. Through their initiative, whispers transformed into vibrant conversations, souls once hidden stepping into the light, creating a tapestry rich in colors and textures that symbolized community resilience. Meanwhile, Lily's spirit began to radiate newfound vigor. Each passing day brought her closer to her sisters as they worked tirelessly to honor both her and the histories of those before them. Their collective efforts attracted the attention of a local newspaper, which featured an article reflecting the importance of healing through expression. Emma Turner, the journalist assigned to write the piece, became deeply fascinated with the sisters after interviewing them. "The Whitmores have rewritten the narrative of Maplewood," Emma mused one evening over tea with the girls. "Their journey of reclaiming connection inspires others. This storytelling festival can shift the culture here. It's not just about healing for your family, it's about restoring the entire community." As the day of the festival approached, anticipation filled the air. The crisp autumn leaves swirled around the town as families began to gather, each carrying memories and stories in their hearts. Clara, Ruth, and Elise stood proud at the entrance, welcoming everyone with open arms. By midday, the town square transformed into a vivid wonderland. Artists displayed their vibrant canvases while poets recited verses that rang through the crisp air. Children painted with laughter, their innocence filling the spaces that had once felt heavy. As the sun began to set, casting a warm golden hue, Clara stepped up to the stage, her heart racing. "Tonight, we honor not just our stories but those who have come before us. We acknowledge the shadows they faced and celebrate the light that shines within each of us. Let our words stitch together the fabric of unity." As applause thundered through the square, the music filled the air, a melody baptized in the spirit of remembrance. Families gathered closer, sharing tales of resilience that blended into a harmonized echo of hope. A younger girl, no more than 8, stood with a piece of paper in hand, quaking with uncertainty. But Ruth beckoned her forward, smiling gently. "What's your story? We're here to listen." With an encouraging nod, the girl stepped into the spotlight and recited her poem, a tribute to her own lost brother, a tale that spoke of longing but concluded with themes of joy and hope. The crowd fell into a reverent silence, tears glistening in the eyes of the audience. As the evening unfolded, the sisters understood that their efforts had been birthed in a longing far more significant than they had initially imagined, their own experiences intertwining with those of their neighbors. One poignant piece settled into Clara's heart, a tale of a woman who once watched her brother disappear into the woods, never to return. Years had gone by, yet the pain lingered. "He lives on in my memories," she whispered, her voice steady. "I honor him by cherishing life even amidst loss." After the festival wrapped up, there was a sense of weightlessness, a collective catharsis fulfilled, binding the town together, forged in respect and understanding for one another. Little did they know, just beyond the edges of the festival's joy, shadows still lurked. Just as things settled into a fragile harmony, echoes from the past proved that healing would not emerge unchallenged. Clara, Ruth, and Elise found themselves at the heart of the storm once more, norms shifting under layers of buried memories that resurfaced within the town. The following spring, unsettling tales began to circulate again, stories of fresh disappearances stirring the restless spirits once forgotten. Whispers stirred to life, claiming that the woods had taken more daughters as they once had long ago. When Clara first caught wind of the rumors, disbelief anchored her heart. "They can't be true," she asserted, fear tugging at her determination. "Haven't we faced enough?" Elise, ever the dreamer, felt a ripple of apprehension running through her. "It's happening again, we need to confront it. Ignoring it won't make it go away." Ruth's eyes darkened with concern. We have to investigate for ourselves. What if Lily isn't finished guiding us yet? Thus began a journey fraught with tension as the sisters, emboldened by their unity, ventured once more into the woods that both nourished and haunted them. This time, they carried lanterns filled with the stories gleaned from the villagers' hearts, now symbolic reminders of the past they sought to protect. As they entered the forest's embrace, the air shifted, charged with a foreboding weight. The canopy above cast ominous shadows, flickering like dance partners entwined in a macabre ballet. Clara felt an uncanny familiarity around her, every rustle evoking memories of the friendships and stories they had unearthed. "We must stick together no matter what we find," Clara reminded her sisters, her voice a steady anchor amid their swirling emotions. "We carry their legacies with us." Deeper into the woods, a sense of urgency plucked at their chests as if the trees began to lean closer, blocking the exit. It became eerily apparent that whatever dwelled in the wilderness drew nearer. Then, from behind a thicket emerged a flicker of movement that sent chills coursing down their spines. A girl, dirt-streaked, hair tangled. It was the same girl Clara had seen long ago, and as recognition hit, they gasped in unison. "You," Clara exclaimed, stepping forward, "you have to come with us. We need to understand, why are you here?" The girl's eyes widened, filled with unexpressed pain. "The shadows are ensnaring us," she replied, her voice but a whisper integrated with the wind. "They can't let go." Clara's heart fell, the very idea that darkness could still persist gripped them all. "What do we do?" Ruth asked frantically, unable to conceal her fear. "We must confront the shadows," Elise asserted, drawing strength from a determination they had nurtured. "Only together can we breach the veils of their power." Once again the sisters entwined their hands as the gathering storm of darkness pressed at their backs. The chatter of voices echoed through the trees, leading them to an ancient grove marked by a twisted tree, gnarled yet magnificent. Drawing strength from the tales shared in Maplewood, they positioned themselves, illuminating the grove with the very light of their collective spirit. "We are the keepers of these stories," Clara proclaimed loudly. "We celebrate those lost. We will not let darkness dictate our fates." As if responding to their fiery declaration, whispers swelled around them, tumbling like shaken leaves, ebbing against the very roots of their ancestral legacy. Shadows began to twist and roar, confronting the sisters fiercely. Through sheer willpower, they closed their eyes, summoning the warmth of their sisterhood. "Be free!" they shouted into the void. With renewed resolve, the tension in the air lifted, and the encroaching shadows began to waver. They longed for release as much as the sisters desired to confront what wished to bind them. Suddenly, the wildness within the woods calmed. The girl who had been lost among the shadows stepped forward again. "Thank you," she breathed, her face softening. "You've set us free." As the sun dipped below the horizon, Clara, Ruth, Elise, and the nameless girl embraced the warmth of the twilight, holding onto the realization that their bonds transcended fear, a victory woven from the threads of remembrance. By facing the shadows of their past, they transformed darkness into light, rewriting the legacy of Maplewood yet again. Their voices finally merged with the winds that carried hope, not merely for themselves, but for those daughters yet to be discovered. The battle had forged an undeniable connection, a chorus of love echoing in the eternal embrace of sisterhood. With the specter of darkness finally receding, the Whitmore sisters emerged from their encounter renewed, fortified by the understanding that family transcends bloodlines. In that clarity, they launched a new chapter, paving the way for a more comprehensive community effort to heal those touched by shadows. Maplewood began to transform, fostering a narrative built on remembrance and awareness. The sisters' adventures had melded into a foundation of hope, like roots seeking nourishment from the very soil that once claimed light. Clara, Ruth, and Elise drew in neighbors, friends, and distant allies who were eager to collaborate, to learn, and to heal collectively. The storytelling festival had become an annual tradition, breathing life into the tales that sought resurrection. Now, workshops were organized where art and storytelling intertwined seamlessly for children and elders alike. It was a refuge where lost voices could find their echo. As spring blossomed into summer, a refreshing spirit took renewal, and the once feared woods transformed into a cherished sanctuary. It became a living space where families gathered to exchange memories and breathe life into the stories of lost daughters. But within this new life lay a deeper mission, one the Whitmore sisters recognized anew, grounded in ancestral wisdom. Clara took the lead, as she often did. We must share what we've learned. There's power in honoring those who have come before us. Each story is a thread in this fabric of life. The evening light flickered as lanterns lined the path leading into the woods. Families came together to walk in remembrance and commemoration, sound spilling through the air like an anthem resonating with unity. One evening, as Clara reflected by the riverbank, she realized that healing is perpetual. It wrapped itself around every moment of grief and joy alike. In honoring our shadows, we embrace the fullness of who we are, she breathed, leaning against the familiar oak trees that stood witness to their journey. Elise approached quietly, a smile warming her features. It's a beautiful tapestry we weave together, the past continues to teach us. Ruth, sitting across the current, offered her thoughts. We will never forget, but as a community, we are reimagining life beyond fear. With those intentions glowing as brightly as the lanterns, the Whitmore sisters gathered again with their families to share both laughter and tears. Together, they painted murals of remembrance on the forest walls, capturing the very essence of Maplewood's history, a vibrant portrayal of resilience anchored in acceptance. As the sisters explored the wide paths leading them back home, they were consumed by a sense of continuity. The narrative, grounded in love and loss, echoed gently among the trees, their shared endeavors honoring the past, lighting paths for the future. It became clear that sisterhood formed the bridge between every soul present, a legacy forged one story at a time. As the sun slipped below the horizon, Clara, Ruth, Elise, and Lily remained intertwined, a bond carved through time, weathering storms alongside one another, fulfilled in the understanding that light persisted, even among the darkest of shadows. And as Maplewood blossomed, the sisters breathed in the powerful truth. No matter how dense the darkness felt, together they would remain unwavering, a sanctuary built on love amidst the echoes of remembrance. Seasons shifted once again in Maplewood, and as summer melted into autumn, an unsettling change loomed on the horizon. Despite the Whitmore sisters' best efforts, whispers resurfaced, echoing concerns of dark forces reclaiming their hold on the town. The echoes of lost daughters still stirred unease in the hearts of the townsfolk. A series of mysterious events began to unspool the tranquility that had settled over Maplewood. Residents reported sightings of figures lurking at the forest's edge, shadows that moved like wisps of smoke, fleeting glimpses that stirred memories of stories recounted by the sisters in hushed tones. Clara was the first to notice the shift. One evening, returning from the local market, she spotted a hooded figure standing at the tree line. Heart racing, she felt instinct urge her feet to stay rooted, but the whispers of the wind pushed her forward. As she approached, the figure vanished into the trees, leaving only a curl of vapor trailing behind, a haunting reminder of the past. "Ruth, Elise," Clara shouted, fear creeping into her voice, "you have to see this." When her sisters arrived, the tension was palpable. "What did you see?" Ruth asked, scanning the tree line with bright eyes. "I swear it was a figure draped in a cloak or something, it just disappeared." Clara caught her breath, scanning their surroundings. Elise stepped closer to her sisters, the warmth of connection igniting something deeper within. "What if this has to do with the tales we've been sharing? What if we haven't fully resolved the past?" A chill unfurled in Clara's gut as they pondered their next steps. They understood the weight of what the woods harbored beneath their roots. "We need to confront this," she insisted. "We can't let fear guide us yet again." And so the sisters, emboldened by their past victories, decided to gather the community to explore whatever dark force was lingering yet again. Clara publicly called for a town meeting, inviting everyone to the community center where stories could be shared and fears voiced. As the townsfolk assembled in the familiar hall, murmurs filled the air. Curious and concerned faces turned toward the Whitmore sisters as they approached the podium together. Clara took the lead, her voice steady. "We stand here tonight not just as advocates for unity, but as bearers of a message. We have felt the shadows creeping back, and it's time we confront them together, not with fear but with shared understanding." Ruth spoke next, her heart racing. "We've unveiled so many truths, but it appears we need to deepen our efforts. Our strength lies in connection. Let's share our stories, our experiences. Only then can we shine light into the very corners that threaten our peace." As stories began to ripple through the gathering, an air of unease settled over the room. Voices trembled as neighbors recounted ghostly figures seen beyond the trees, strange sounds echoing from the depths of the woods, and a constant feeling of being watched when darkness approached. One young woman, her hands shaking, spoke up. I swear I saw 3 girls in the woods playing. They looked just like me and my sisters, but when I called to them, they just vanished. What are we facing? The room fell silent, but Clara's resolve strengthened. We face the legacy of what has lingered, the stories that had been suppressed for too long. Whatever fears we harbor, we must confront them as a community. From that point, dialogue emerged into a chorus of reflections that encompassed both joy and fear. As night deepened, a pact formed, a determination to permeate the woods together, reclaiming a legacy and fighting against whatever darkness had unsettled them yet again. With the dawn of a new day, the town saturated with energy and anxiety ventured deep into the woods, the sisters leading the way with resolute hearts and an unwavering spirit. Families gathered, holding hands side by side, reviving the bonds of trust forged through shared tales and open hearts. As Clara, Ruth, and Elise crossed the threshold into the familiar embrace of the trees, Clara spoke. Let us remember the power of our stories. We all carry voices that can guide us through shadows. The air tingled with tension as they proceeded deeper into the woods. The atmosphere shifted unexpectedly, an unsettling rustling echoed through the canopy. It sent shivers racing down their spines, yet they pressed on. The sunlight filtered through the leaves like golden threads, illuminating their path as if weaving a tapestry of hope. Moments later, they stumbled upon a clearing they'd never seen before, a wide-open space adorned with wildflowers that danced in the breeze. In the center stood the remnants of a long-abandoned cabin, its walls weathered and faded, a stark reminder of homes left to time. Elise paused, awe blooming on her face. It feels familiar, doesn't it? She asked, glancing at her sisters. It does, Clara agreed, heart pounding. Could this be the place of those early stories we once spoke of, the cabin where the daughters disappeared? Just then, a sudden chill swept through the clearing as the trees whispered their haunting secrets, reverberating with echoes of children laughing, sweet and chilling all at once. The sisters exchanged gazes, each feeling that thread of history binding them closer. Wait, Ruth said, stepping forward. We should explore, we may unearth what was hidden. As they ventured toward the cabin, Clara felt a strange, magnetic pull, something deep within urging her to step closer. The door creaked open at her touch, revealing a world suffocated in dust but alive with memories etched into the walls. Inside, remnants of children's drawings plastered the cabin, colorful depictions of fairy tales and mythical creatures. But there, woven among the innocent artwork, lay haunting images, figures with vacant eyes, tangling into swirling darkness that seemed to grip them. This is where they were, Clara whispered, the weight of grief and recognition encasing their hearts. They never left, they were trapped. As if summoned by their realization, the cabin seemed to plume with a rush of energy, swirling rosily with emotions unexpressed. The stories had awakened whatever spirits lingered in dim corners, demanding acknowledgement. Together, Elise said fiercely, we must give them voice, ensure they are remembered. Standing united, the sisters extended their arms, grasping hands with each other as their thoughts intertwined. We acknowledge you, they declared in unison. We see you, your laughter, your fear, your loss. We remember, we will not let your stories be forgotten. A gust of wind rushed through the entrance, fluttering their hair and filling the air with a tangle of warmth and life. In that moment, the forest seemed to exhale, releasing long-held breaths of pain into the open air. As the breeze calmed, the atmosphere transformed. An ethereal glow began to form beneath the layers of dust and despair. Out of the shadows, flickers of figures emerged, daughters long lost, their faces now vibrant and clear, laughter clarity echoing through the cabin, intertwining with the sisters' voices like a soothing melody. Standing in the clearing, the Whitmore sisters felt the weight of the world lift from their shoulders. The spirits daughters once lost enveloped them with overwhelming love, their laughter resonating within like a balm upon bruised hearts. Thank you, a voice like soft wind whispered. You have remembered us, we are not lost, we are reborn through your stories, you gave us light in darkness. In that moment, the woods came alive with the joyous embrace of acknowledgement, healing rushing over them like a warm wave. Clara, Ruth, and Elise felt the boundaries that once confined them dissolve, allowing the power of kinship to soar. As the figures danced, their colors shimmering vividly amidst the chaos, a new path began to emerge. Relationships forged in silence and pain flourished, blooming into renewed purpose as whispers of the past settled among the branches. The sisters, transformed by the encounter, recognized the importance of the bond they shared, sisterhood transcendent and strengthened. They vowed to never let the shadows take them or any other daughters again. Emerging from the cabin, they looked back at the clearing, a sanctuary reclaimed, a space where shadows had been faced and transformative healing had taken place. The elder trees seemed to bow as if in respect, protecting the sacred ground they had shared. As gathered families began to surround them, light filters through the branches, bathing everyone in a sacred glow. Clara raised her voice, empowered. "Let this be a testament. We honor our past and celebrate our stories. Together we bring forth the stories of all lost daughters, ensuring they are forever remembered." With spirits intertwined, the celebration erupted, a gathering of compassion binding Maplewood together as a newly formed family. Lanterns flickered to life, illuminating the fragile shadows that had once dominated their lives while casting their histories into a hopeful light. As laughter spilled into the night, Clara felt the comforting weight of her sisters beside her. They had reclaimed what had threatened to divide them and learned that through facing darkness, the bond of love would only deepen, a legacy not just for the Whitmores but for every soul intertwined in the story. Beneath the shimmering stars' blanket, they realized they held the power to forge new legends, building bridges over chasms of loss, and that love transcended time, allowing room for both the light and shadows to coexist as cherished memories fluttered among them like autumn leaves dancing in the wind. And in that beautiful moment in the woods where daughters had once vanished, the Whitmore sisters concluded that every echo of laughter whispered through the trees attested to their relentless strength. Together, they would always remain united in the heart of Maplewood. As the years unfurled, Maplewood thrived under the new ethos cultivated by the Whitmore sisters. The storytelling festival became a hallmark of the town's identity, becoming a vibrant tapestry woven from the threads of shared tales, ensuring that no soul would be forgotten again. The legacy of the lost daughters became integral to the community, a guiding star lighting the path for generations to come. But within the harmony, a lingering unease remained, an unanswered question echoing softly in the corners of Clara's mind. Each year, as autumn returned, her heart stirred at the thought of the hooded figure she had glimpsed that night in the woods. Who had it been? Why had it disappeared? Determined to confront her unease, Clara broached the subject during one gathering of the sisters. "I think we need to revisit the woods," she suggested, her voice steady yet tinged with apprehension. "What if there are more stories waiting to be uncovered?" Ruth exchanged a glance with Elise, sensing the familiar undercurrent of worry thread between them. "But we've faced so much already," Ruth replied cautiously. "What if we open doors best left shut?" "That's exactly why we need to go," Clara insisted. "If there are still lingering shadows, we cannot let them fester. We are stronger together, and we owe it to those who came before us to ensure complete closure." Elise, whose heart always leaned toward the nurturing, took a deep breath. "Then we go together. We owe it to our community, to every daughter who has ever felt the weight of silence." Underneath the moonlit sky, the sisters set forth a plan. They organized a gathering under the stars, inviting the townsfolk to share their experiences once more. Clara asserted, "Transparency has always been our ally. If anyone has doubts or has sensed something amiss, we must explore it openly." On the night of the gathering, the community center buzzed with energy, voices mingling in excitement but underlined with trepidation. Residents shared their connections to the woods, exploring the stories that haunted eyes and held hearts captive. Yet amidst the camaraderie, Clara felt the tightening knot of unease within her. As she scanned the room, she caught sight of a stranger standing near the back, an older woman dressed in dark layers, her features partially obscured by the brim of her worn hat. The woman's presence sent a chill coursing down Clara's spine. Something about her felt familiar, though Clara couldn't quite place why. As the evening wore on, the woman observed silently, her dark gaze capturing Clara's attention. "Does anyone else feel the weight of unseen eyes watching us?" Clara asked the crowd, a steady hand on her heart. Gasps erupted from the audience and the stranger's gaze locked onto Clara's, something flickering behind her composure, recognition, fear. The woman approached, a nuance of caution in her steps. "Your tales of lost daughters reach into the fabric of our past," she spoke, the low timbre of her voice resonating across the room. "But not all stories choose to fade willingly." Clara's heart raced as she faced the woman. "And you are?" "I am Althea," she replied, drawing closer. "Some called me a guardian of the woods, a keeper of secrets." Her eyes shimmered, glistening with memories stretched across decades. "Not every shadow seeks light." The room stilled. Ruth squeezed Clara's hand, urging her to stand firm. "What can you share about the hooded figure?" Clara's question etched urgency in her voice. "Why does it linger?" Althea's expression deepened, shadows falling over her features. "There are remnants of those who could not let go, spirits seeking closure. What happened before continues to ripple, and the woods hold their memories trapped within. If you choose to confront the darkness, you must be ready for what lies beneath." Elise stepped forward, an ever-curious flame igniting within her. "Tell us what we need to know. We've faced the past, and we can't let fear wield control over our future." With a breath of resignation, Althea revealed, "There is a clearing where decisions were made, a pact that ripped apart lives. It's filled with shadows of those lost. If you want to uncover your truth, that is where you must go." The sisters exchanged glances, determination sharpening their resolve. The whispers echoed from Althea's words, wrapping around their hearts like familiar arms. "We are in this together, no matter what that clearing holds," Clara stated, defiance and bravery coiling inside her. And so a renewed pact was forged that night, a commitment to step boldly into the depths of the woods once again. As they ventured towards that sacred ground, the flames of remembrance burned brightly in their hearts, not just for themselves but for each spirit they sought to free. With dawn still cloaked in twilight, the sisters and a small group of brave townsfolk set out toward the ancient clearing Althea had spoken of. The air hung damp with anticipation, each breath drawn heavy with emotion. As they made their way deeper, strange sounds crackled through the underbrush, whispers tangled in the rustling leaves, creating a melody both haunting and beautiful. Clara could feel the energy shift around them, subtly urging them to turn back, yet they pressed on, united in purpose. The path twisted as sunlight battled its way through thick branches, the world around them becoming a vibrant tapestry, the greens of the forest an invitation and a warning, guiding them closer to the fabled site of lost pacts and broken spirits. When they finally reached the clearing, it was more breathtaking than they could have imagined. A wide-open space etched with remnants of misses and mishaps, a dewy carpet of leaves stretching before them. In stark contrast to the surrounding woods, a heavy silence draped itself over the space like a veil, thick with memories of decision and consequence. Clara stepped in first, her heart pounding, eyes darting to the shadows. "Are any of you here?" she called softly, her voice almost trembling at the sound of her own inquiry. "We're here to remember and to heal." The ground beneath them felt alive, pulsating with secrets that begged to be excavated. An unexpected wind rustled through, sending goosebumps emerging on their skin. Clara sensed the raw potency in the air, aware that they were not alone. Elise spread her arms wide, taking a step forward. "We honor you, you are part of us. We acknowledge our shared history and express our gratitude for your stories." But the air seemed to shift in response, thickening around them like an enclosed space. A figure emerged from the shadows, the hooded figure Clara had glimpsed before. The darkness seemed to swirl in its wake, its presence an embodiment of pain and breathless sorrow. The townsfolk gasped and Clara felt her pulse race. "Who are you?" she strained to ask, trying to evoke courage. "I am the keeper of trusting souls," came a voice that echoed softly yet resonated like a bell tolling through the clearing. "Those who were lost, yet wrapped in unbreakable bonds that led them astray. I am the protector of the daughters lost to their decisions and complicity." In that moment, recognition unfurled within Clara's heart. "What do you want from us?" she spoke with determination. The figure glided closer, revealing a face steeped in sorrow. "Release us from the pain of our choices. Here, old pacts forged from fear seek redemption, a chance to reclaim what was lost and restore balance." Ruth stepped forward, eyes fierce. We will break those chains. We do this for all daughters, including you, who have felt the weight of darkness. Suddenly, the sisters found their voices rising in unison. We honor the past, we acknowledge our bond, we lift our hearts to all you have endured. As they recited gentle affirmations, light pulsed through the clearing, weaving through the air like golden threads, stitching hearts together, pushing back against the stifling shadows. The figure raised its arms, and the shadows surrounding it began to dissipate, flickering like fireflies escaping from confinement. Together, you reclaim what was consumed, you breathe life back into the narrative. With newfound strength, the townsfolk joined in their pledges, voices harmonizing, channeling their collective stories, each word a healing balm. The air filled with energy, coursing through their veins, illuminating the darkness with clarity of purpose. As the clearing transformed into a sanctuary of redemption, the shadows emitting warmth surrendered their pain, rising like embers, disappearing into the open sky. In the aftermath of that pivotal encounter, Clara, Ruth, and Elise returned home transformed, wounds healed and scars embraced. The receding darkness, lingering for far too long, dispersed into palpable light, the energy sculpted among the people of Maplewood sparkled anew. The past, taken lightly, transformed into a celebration of existence. Over time, they shared the stories of those who were lost in memory but had now reclaimed their voices. The town flourished as a sanctuary, a convergence of shared histories threading into a vibrant community tapestry. The Whitmore sisters led the charge to honor that which had once been silent, seeking to understand the happenings of the woods but intertwining all past and present lives into celebrations of unity instead. The legacy of the lost daughters found its place within the heart of Maplewood. "Every story matters," Clara declared one warm summer evening, gazing at the vibrant canvas spanning across the town square. "Our greatest strength lies in our willingness to embrace each other's humanity, to create a home for every child, every soul." Ruth and Elise stood beside her under the glow of lantern light, feeling the warmth radiate through their community, filled with lives once plagued by shadows but now unfurling under the bright sunny skies of hope and love. As a new chapter began to unfold in Maplewood, a commitment to appreciate the past while sowing seeds of a brighter future illuminated by love, Clara felt the unwavering bond of sisterhood surrounding her. They were the keepers of these stories, the vessels through which healing flowed. Together, they agreed to continue honoring the narratives that the daughters had left behind, to invoke courage, and to create echoes of laughter that resonated through the ages, quickening strides toward longevity amid resilience. As twilight drew near, Clara watched the stars begin to twinkle. Moonlight bathed the clearing where they had faced their greatest fears, wrapping around Maplewood like a protective shroud. Tears glimmered in Clara's eyes, a cascade of gratitude blooming at the realization that darkness had been transformed into a myriad of colors, each a testament to love, loss, sisterhood, and the endless capacity for healing that thrived within the town's heart. And in that moment, the Whitmore sisters knew they would always remain tethered, not just by blood but by the whispers of hope and light that stitched together the legacies of every lost daughter, a family eternally bound to one another. As the first anniversary of the healing ceremony approached, the town of Maplewood prepared for a grand celebration, unveiling a monument to honor the stories of the lost daughters and the journey of reclamation. The Whitmore sisters envisioned an event that would entwine remembrance with joy, allowing the past to breathe life into the present. Plans unfurled as the entire town rallied together. Families volunteered to create an impressive display filled with photographs, stories, and tributes from those who had been touched by the legacy of the daughters. In each home, the flickers of candles set against the walls reminded everyone of the spirits that had once roamed too close to despair. Clara felt a surge of pride as she walked through the bustling town hall, seeing community members working alongside one another. Children painted bright murals while elders reminisced and shared wisdom, reminding everyone of the bonds that connected them. "Look at this," Ruth exclaimed, her eyes sparkling as she pointed to a large canvas. "All these kids are painting what they've learned from our stories. They're beginning to understand the importance of our histories." Elise, spread out on the floor with a group of children, encouraged each brushstroke. "Tell me what this means to you," she chimed, as excited giggles and curious voices filled the air. Clara smiled, taking a moment to breathe in the vibrancy around her. We've turned fear into something beautiful, she mused, both proud and humbled by their collective efforts. As dusk began to settle, the community gathered in the center square where the monument stood, a sculpture forged from intertwined branches and roots, representing the unity of Maplewood. Clara stood alongside her sisters, her heart swelling with gratitude as the crowd quieted down. Tonight, we reflect on our journeys, she began, her voice steady yet brimming with emotion. This monument stands as a testament to the lives we honor and the stories we share, ensuring that no one will ever be forgotten. The crowd erupted into applause and Ruth continued, her tone strong. Each name, each story strengthens our bond. From the darkness emerge friendships we never knew we needed, and it's our duty to ensure light perseveres. As the sun dipped below the horizon, candlelight flickered, casting soft shadows around the square. The townsfolk began to share their stories aloud, creating a space where voices layered atop one another, a song of survival, of resilience that flowed through the night. One by one, families stepped forward carrying mementos that resonated with their own histories. My grandmother left this, a man said with a trembling voice, holding up a faded photograph of a young girl. We never spoke of her loss, but tonight I choose to honor her memory in a way my family never did. He was followed by others, each voice fanning the flames of remembrance, weaving threads of stories together. One child, standing on tiptoes, held high a drawing of a girl beside an oak tree, declaring, "This is who I think my sister would have been." Tears rolled down Clara's cheeks as the weight of gratitude enveloped her. The realization struck her anew: their work had transcended mere recovery, it had transformed into a movement that ignited voices across generations. As the night grew deeper, lanterns floated into the sky, shimmering like stars released into the infinite cosmos. The sisters joined hands, feeling the warmth of their shared journey. In that moment, Clara spoke on behalf of them all. To every heart that has faced shadows, we promise to keep your stories alive. You are woven into the very fabric of Maplewood, beyond our villages, into the hearts of those yet to come. You are never forgotten. With that, the enduring spirit of the lost daughters filled the air, reverberating through the trees, dancing among the stars, resonating with hope that surpassed time. As time marched on, Maplewood continued to prosper, yet Clara could not shake the feeling that the shadows had not wholly receded. The winds seemed to shift into an uncertainty, an echo of footsteps still lingering just out of reach. One evening, as autumn winds whispered through the town, Clara ventured back into the woods, drawn by an inner compulsion. The crunch of leaves beneath her feet echoed with each determined step. The air thickened with memories and whispers, as if the trees wanted to confide in her. Deeper in the woods, Clara stumbled upon the same clearing, but it felt different, hallowed yet tinged with an unsettling stillness. The monument emerged amid flickering shadows, a reminder that stories endure but can also shift, leaving behind a weight without answers. "Is someone there?" Clara called, straining her ears against the stillness. She sensed movement in the periphery, shadows darting silently between the trees. As her heart quickened, the hooded figure emerged once again. Clara felt her breath catch. "Who are you? Why do you keep appearing?" The figure remained still, its presence imbued with a mix of shadow and luminescence. "I am what remains when closure is not yet fulfilled," it whispered, the words cascading like wind through the branches. "Your town has forged a new path, but echoes of regret still linger." Clara swallowed hard, realization flooding her mind. "What do you need? How can we put this to rest?" "Face the lingering pain of the past," the figure continued, "and unearth what has yet to be resolved. Within you lies the answer. Your stories hold the key to unlocking the shackles of this land." A wave of understanding hit Clara. "Did you belong to those who were lost? Are you one of them?" The figure hesitated, a semblance of sadness reflected within its hood. "The pact that sealed our fate entwined us eternally. Understanding comes only through shared pain." "Together we will find peace," Clara declared, her pulse racing with renewed determination. "Together we will confront whatever lingers once and for all." As if coaxed to life by her words, the forest began to pulse, shadows swirling around her like a maelstrom, evoking a whirlwind of unclaimed stories bundled within the whispers of the trees. The figure raised a hand, revealing a faded locket, a relic of the past. This holds the link to what remains. You must return it to its rightful place. Clara stepped forward, heart racing with a sense of urgency. Show me where. In a flash, the woods swirled into movement and the world shifted. The trees drew back, revealing a hidden path illuminated by ethereal light. Clara, emboldened by the figure's presence, stepped forth, seeking the resolution that had eluded her. The path unfurled into the depths of the forest with each determined stride. Clara felt the weight of history entwined with her heart, an awareness that went beyond mere familiarity. The air spoke of a collective memory, resonating with the lives that once walked there. The trail led deeper into the woods and soon came upon a small clearing. That same clearing now draped in an ethereal glow, revealing an old grave partially obscured by undergrowth. Clara gasped, recognizing the symbols etched on the weathered stone. She knelt before it, her heart pounding in resonance with the words inscribed. "Here lies Eleonora Whitmore," she read aloud, tracing her finger over the name that anchored the past and the future. "Eleonora," she whispered, heart swelling with a desire to honor this sister who had been lost to time. "I understand your pain. We are here to set you free." The hooded figure lingered nearby, whispering, "You must acknowledge her. For every shadow there is an equally bright light." Clara closed her eyes, allowing silence to envelop her, drawing strength from the spirits surrounding her. "Eleonora, we see you," she called softly, letting her voice carry through the clearing. "You are part of our story and we wish to bring you peace." The wind danced around her, swirling like a gentle embrace, and with each breath Clara felt a release, the weight of the past easing in the air. The figure grew more luminous, revealing the lost spirit trapped in the depths of sorrow. Together, they recited stories that spoke of Eleonora's life, love, and laughter, channeled through shared memories of family ties that had once been fragmented. As they honored her journey, Clara's heart aligned with the wisdom of the departed, a renewal washing over them. In that profound moment, Clara understood that every lost daughter deserved recognition and remembrance. "With every story comes healing," she pledged softly. "Together we honor those yet to be found." The atmosphere brightened as shadows lifted like fog, dissipating with the rising sun. A sense of connection enveloped the clearing as the grave marker shifted, revealing a tapestry of vibrant flowers blooming around it, encircling it with life once more. And as the figure sparkled in the expanding light, a sense of liberation washed through the woods. "Thank you," Eleonora's voice resonated softly, surrounding Clara like a cocoon. "You have freed me." From that moment, the connection solidified between Clara, Eleonora, and the town they cherished. Emerging from the woods, Clara felt a transformation within. An invigorating sense of purpose surged through her veins. No longer shackled by fear or doubt, she carried the stories forward, ready to embrace the legacy intertwined with Maplewood. Back in town, she shared the experience that had unlocked the chains binding spirits and souls. "Eleonora Whitmore is part of us," Clara exclaimed to the gathered crowd in the town square, her voice booming with conviction. "We share in her legacy, and through honoring her, we unlock the power of compassion and healing for all those we've lost." As shared stories interwove with laughter and tears, the townspeople reached for one another, cementing connections that had begun so long ago. Under the blossoming trees, they celebrated all lost daughters, those remembered and those still seeking recognition. A festival of sorts emerged from the day's journey, acknowledging new life, painting the town in vibrant colors to represent those who departed too soon. Clara and her sisters led a procession through Maplewood, holding lanterns for those who had ventured among them, lighting the way for future generations. Each step illuminated a path that spanned generations, their families entwined in care, grief, and joy. Maps linking back to the past swirled through their minds, and tales sprung forth that breathed life into history. Clara felt the turning of her heart, a desire to form a foundation dedicated to remembrance, healing, and storytelling so no daughter would ever be lost again. Inspired communities would gather annually to celebrate, healing wounds etched by time, honoring every spirit whose echoes had shaped their homes. As lanterns floated into the night sky, Clara, Ruth, and Elise stood hand in hand, overlooking a sea of glimmers that twinkled against the darkened horizon. "Together, we will ensure that no voice fades again," Ruth said resolutely, feeling the warmth radiate among them. Yes, Clara affirmed. We carry forth the legacy shared, the strength flows through our stories, binding us to the fight against shadows. And as celebratory laughter danced into the air, Clara understood that loss could intertwine with hope, crafting a narrative of resilience and courage that knew no bounds. The Whitmore sisters knew they had created something timeless, a legacy built on sisterhood, love, and a determination to face whatever darkness lay ahead, one story at a time. The years rolled on in Maplewood, the vibrant festival now a staple of the community, every year drawing larger crowds, each face a testament to the enduring legacy of the Whitmore sisters and the lost daughters they had honored. Clara, Ruth, and Elise often reflected on their journey, sharing tales with young children who gathered around them, wide-eyed with wonder. They spoke of bravery, darkness, and the beauty found in shared stories. It became a ritual, those stories woven into the fabric of the town, transcending mere remembrance and blossoming into an unbreakable bond among generations. One evening, as the sun began to set, the sisters stood beneath the monument, their hearts full. The branches around them swayed gently, as if nodding in agreement with the whispers of the past. Each flicker of light in the distance reminded them that hope had been reborn. I think we've done it, Clara said softly, gazing at the star-studded sky. We've turned something so heavy into a lantern of possibility for others. Ruth nodded, her smile radiant. And it will keep growing, our stories will bring more to light, ensuring that love outweighs darkness. As Elise gazed out over the festivities, her heart swelled with pride. We've turned fears into laughter, pain into art. Our journey isn't just ours anymore, it belongs to everyone willing to join us. With the afternoon light spilling into twilight, Clara closed her eyes and took a deep breath, feeling each heartbeat resonate with the memories of those past and present. Let's keep moving forward together, she whispered, a vow reverberating in her heart. The Whitmore sisters, not as separate entities but as a unified family bound by love, continued to carry threads of connection through every story shared, knowing that even in loss, life would flourish and flourish again. And as long as voices echoed through the woods of Maplewood, the daughters would never be forgotten, their laughter woven into the very essence of life itself. Their legacy would not just linger in shadows but thrive in the light they had found together, crafting a future where every heart beat in harmony, guided by love forged in undying resilience. With that lifelong commitment standing firm in the sisters' hearts, they walked forward into an endless tapestry of stories yet to be woven, ever united as one, a light piercing through every shadow.